Little girl runs to police crying, "Please follow me home." What they found left everyone in tears. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon when Officer Ramirez noticed a small figure darting across the police station parking lot. A little girl no older than 7 with tear-streaked cheeks and a frayed pink backpack ran straight up to him. Please follow me home," she cried, her voice trembling, clutching his hand before he could even ask a question. Her urgency was palpable, and the sight of her little, shaking frame made his chest tighten. Officer Ramirez motioned to his partner, Officer Chen, and together they followed her through the winding streets of the neighborhood. The girl led them down narrow alleyways and past familiar corner stores, her tiny sneakers slapping against the pavement in frantic rhythm. Finally, they arrived at a modest house tucked behind a row of aging oak trees. The girl hesitated at the gate, whispering, "Please, be gentle." Ramirez exchanged a glance with Chen. They both felt a mix of concern and curiosity. Inside, the living room was quiet. Too quiet. The officers stepped carefully, following the girl as she led them toward a small, dimly lit kitchen. There, sitting at the table, was an elderly woman, pale and trembling, a cast on her arm. Beside her were scattered papers and unopened mail. The girl ran to her mother, wrapping her little arms around her. "Mom, I called the police," she said, her voice both relieved and proud. It turned out the mother, a single parent, had been struggling silently after a fall the week prior. She hadn't been able to get up to call for help or even make her appointments. The girl had noticed her mother's distress, her whispered pleas, and had mustered the courage to run for help herself. Officer Ramirez and Chen sprang into action, arranging for medical support and ensuring the woman was safe. What struck them most wasn't just the mother's relief. It was the bravery and selflessness of the little girl, who had acted without hesitation to protect the person she loved most. Later, as the officers filled out their reports, they watched the girl draw a picture for her mother, a simple sketch of a heart surrounded by the words, "You are safe now." It was a small act, but in that moment it felt monumental, a reminder that courage and kindness often. The mother, tears streaming down her face, held her daughter close. "You saved me," she whispered. "You were so brave." The girl simply smiled, her eyes wide, a mix of relief and pride sparkling in them. She didn't see herself as a hero. She had just wanted to help. Officer Ramirez knelt down to her level. "You did the right thing, kiddo," he said gently. "You helped someone you love, and that takes a lot of courage." The girl's smile widened, and for a brief moment, the weight of fear and worry seemed to lift from the small home. As paramedics arrived and tended to the mother, the officers stayed long enough to reassure both of them that help would continue, that neighbors and social services could provide support. When they finally left, the girl waved, still clutching her mother's hand, her little face glowing with pride and love. That day, a simple act of courage, a little girl deciding to ask for help, changed the course of a family's life. It was a reminder to everyone who heard the story. Sometimes the most powerful acts of humanity are not grand gestures, but small selfless moments born out of love and concern for others. And so, as Officer Ramirez and Chen drove back to the station, they carried with them a renewed sense of hope. In a world that often seemed harsh and hurried, a 7-year-old's bravery had reminded them that kindness, compassion, and courage can truly make a difference. The little girl went to bed that night with her mother safe, the house filled with quiet laughter and warmth. She didn't know she had inspired everyone who had heard her story. She only knew that she had done the right thing. And in that, there was a lesson for us all. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers through the smallest voice in the room, calling others to follow and creating ripples of hope that touch the hearts of many.